Welcome back to Code with Me. I'm Jacob Curley, and today I'm going to be continuing my project from the previous video that I put out, where we're attempting to create a website to host a podcast that my friend and I have been recording. If you didn't watch the previous video, you're fine. I didn't get anything done, but the goal of this series is to show more of an unedited version of how software projects can happen. I think there's a lot of great videos out there that show tutorials, that show how things are made, but they are scripted often, or they have, regardless, most of the time, the person doing it has already figured out all the problems. They already have a solution in mind. They already know what they're going to be doing. So it's just a short little thing of here's all the things you have to do to also accomplish what they have accomplished. I want this to be the other side of that, which is I don't actually know the steps to make this happen, but I know I can make it happen. I have the skills. It's just going to take some research and some work. And I want to show that if you add up all the timestamps of all the videos in this, you'll see how long it took me to build this project. So at the end, maybe I'll put together a sort of compilation of exactly what are the steps to get to where I got. And then you can do like that comparison of how much effort did it take to learn everything from scratch to then produce the final polished outcome. And hopefully that can be helpful if you're out there thinking, man, all these videos I watch, everybody who's making this kind of stuff, it just seems like they know right away. They just intuitively have all of these answers ready to go. And I want to show that that's probably not the case. And these skills take time to learn, and these technologies take time to learn, and that's just part of the process. That's why this is fun. That's why software is fun to make. So jumping back in, here we were. Hopefully tweaked things a little bit too from the last video. This screen was quite dark before. So anyway, here we are, and you can see I've set up a Amazon Web Service Lambda function. This is kind of a basic, I'm just, again, learning a lot of this from scratch. I did a little bit of AWS in the past, but most of this is brand new to me, and I want to show what that's like when you're just exposed to a new technology, how to figure it out, and the amount of time that takes, which can be considerable. So we were here. I kind of had this starting bit of a Lambda thing built off a template. Seems to have the basic setup of a handler and a response. And yeah, whenever you hit the endpoint that this is attached to, it'll just call this and send back something generic that the template came up with. What I want to try to do today is rethink my strategy. My idea was kind of, all right, I know this hooks into Dynamo databases pretty easily. Perhaps we can have a gateway. There can be an endpoint that serves up a page for uploading new episodes. And then there can be a separate endpoint for getting the RSS feed of what episodes are available. And then perhaps a third endpoint that takes in a parameter to choose which episode you'd like to download once you have the RSS feed. The interesting thing about all of that is I haven't actually confirmed. My idea was to store the episode files in the Dynamo database. I have no idea if that's possible. I don't actually know that much about Dynamo. So that's going to be my first thing today, is make sure my architectural decisions are valid. Because if they're not, we're going to have to think of some other solution. So this was all kind of a fun little intro thing, but for now, today is going to be a lot of research and a lot of just kind of exploring what these technologies actually do. So again, if you're just here for the first time, I write software for a living. I mostly work on a 20-year-old application that I didn't help build. I'm just kind of in the process of maintaining it, adding new features to it. So I don't actually have a ton of this kind of sysadmin setting things up experience. So this is also kind of a fun learning side of things for me. Okay. Why don't we go to Google and look at what can we find out about Dynamo database? Sounds like this is in fact an Amazon specific product. I didn't know if they were using something else. Doesn't have SQL. Well, that makes sense because it sounds like they had very specific ways that you call this stuff. Maybe how it works. That's probably good. If they have some kind of developer stuff, that'd be great. It's like they knew what I was asking. Okay, great. Supported data types. Near rules, various data types. See data types. Well, yeah, that's why I clicked on this. String, number, binary, and you can have only a maximum 400 kilobytes. Ouch. Okay. So this ain't gonna work. I mean, the thing I could have done was turn the audio files into binary and dump them in, but the episodes are much, much greater than 400 kilobytes, and I don't want to have to deal with trying to knit together pieces of a file and reconstruct things. That seems like too much of a mess. Okay. Dang it. Well, we might have to go to a plan B then. Maybe this Lambda thing isn't actually going to work. We might have to set up an EC2 instance. Gosh, but paying for that to just run all the time. Well, I think they had some kind of storage section. Whoop. So maybe I can look at one of these things. Ooh, 5 gigabytes of data. That's cool. Storage security performance also storm protecting about data in case data leaks, content applications, mobile apps. Okay. Object storage is built to store and retrieve any amount of data from anywhere. Create the bucket, specify the region, access controls, and management options. Apply the amount of data. This seems like probably correct. I guess let's learn about their features. Oh, cool. We can put tags on things. Hopefully that'll be handy. Good. We can put a prefix on them. So if I want to use this website for multiple different podcasts, I can organize things that way, which is good. Objects lives and keep track of objects in their respective tags, buckets, and prefix. S3 inventory report. List your stored object S3 bucket. Specific prefix and their respective metadata encryption status. Or can be configured to reports on a daily or weekly basis. Well, probably not need that, but would like to keep some kind of I guess they're good retrieval. That's kind of my main thing here is I want to be able to dump stuff in and then get stuff out relatively easily. Intelligence automatically update your storage costs, and move your data between three low latency access tiers, optimized frequent and rare access. Well, I probably don't want this to be doing that automatically because I have no idea how often things are going to get accessed. I haven't done too much looking into how the relationship between Spotify, where our podcast is hosted right now, and the website happens. Like, does Spotify get the RSS feed, recognizes a new episode, and Spotify ingests the audio file, or does Spotify just have listeners point to the audio file? Because if that happens, that'd be kind of a mess if everyone listening to this podcast had to come to my website in the end to get the data. I'd prefer it if Spotify hung on to it and managed that. But who knows? Because the thing is, I want anybody really to be able to anybody to retrieve, but I don't want anybody to be able to store. That's the main setup. Because I don't care if people have the audio files. I want them to have the audio files. That's kind of the whole point. Okay. With the object lambda, you can add your own code to S3 get head and list requests, modify product data as a return to an application. Use custom code to modify data returned by standard S3 get request to filter rows. Okay. Well, that seems kind of nice, I suppose. I kind of like this idea. If I point the RSS feed Sorry, I know this is boring, but hey, this is learning. This is how it goes. Trying to figure things out. So let's see. Pay for storing objects in the buckets, or each your object size, how long you store the objects during the month, and storage class standard, intelligent tiering, Standard infrequent access, one zone infrequent access. Glacier, flexible. Okay, and deep archive. Pay a monthly monitoring and automation charge per object stored. And the intelligent tiering storage. Yeah, well, we're probably not going to use that. Per request industry input copier lifecycle rules to move data into any storage class. So every time I put something in, I get charged. Okay. Point. So it's like 2 cents a gigabyte per month for the first 50 terabytes. I doubt I'm going to use more than that. That seems pretty good. That one's like a penny a month. That's good. Oh, this is even. Probably don't need. Probably want the millisecond options. But 0.4 of a cent per gigabyte seems pretty good. This instant retrieval S3 Glacier. Like, I don't need it to be fast. You're downloading one audio file. Okay. Okay, but then there's the retrieval side. But you can delete data for free. I like that. Okay, sure. Depending on the following request types. Yeah. Okay. Probably gonna have what, like put and get, possibly delete. I mean, list seems like it'd be helpful, but at the same time, if this all gets set up the right way, we just go off the RSS feed anyway. Oh boy, okay. Penny per 1,000 requests. So putting data in is way the hell more expensive than getting data out. That makes sense. Oh. It is much more expensive to add data. So that's the issue. It's cheaper to store it in the long-term stuff. Like, it's cheaper to have it in there, but putting it in there and getting it out is the more expensive. Hmm. 2 cents every time you put something in. 1 cent every time it gets pulled out. That could get expensive. Versus half a cent every time you put something in standard. 4/100ths of a cent every time you try and get it out. That seems better. Cool. They already encrypt all this stuff. That's fine. Again, don't really need it in there. You know, a lot of security. I want to give people these audio files. So, except other known prices included taxes and duties. Yep, whatever. Storage is counted by binary gigabytes, where 1 GB is 2 to the 30 bytes. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, let's do standard versus the Glacier. What was it? Glacier Instant that I was looking at? Yep, okay. So 4/10 of a cent per month per gigabyte versus 2.3 cents per month per gigabyte. But then depending on retrieval, and storage, am I going to be doing more adding and removing, or more? Well, that's the thing. Okay, so let's think about this. The storage needs are the same. It's going to be the same data living in there for potentially forever. Maybe I go with the one that's more expensive to store and retrieve. If only because I don't know how many people are going to listen to the podcast. And if Spotify does the thing that I hope they do, where when they detect from your RSS feed that there is a new episode available, they just download the file and they hang on to it. Let me look that up. That seems like important information to know. How does Spotify? Sure. Let's see what this says. Obviously. Let me just go. Does Spotify? Does it cost money? Store. Oops. How about that? That's not what what the, I want to know the technical stuff. uh, is this, you can just host it on Spotify. Okay. So my friend is the one who set up the initial stuff. I really wish he would have found this, but hey, that's not, uh, it's not the point. We're not here to find an easier solution. The whole point of this was that we were going to make the solution. So either way, probably wouldn't have embarked on this project if this was been discovered first. So in a way, actually, it's good. It's good he didn't find this because that's kind of an answer to all of our issues, but it's fine. It's fine. So what happens? Okay. So shit. Okay. Yeah. I know what all this is, but I just want to know, do they just hang on to the feed? You only have blog posts, audio files. No way people describe automatically new episodes unless you visit your website or get a direct download link for you. Well, I hope to God. Yep, okay, this is about what I expected. Yeah, new episode, and here's some. Checking your feed, they see the information about an episode. The feed needs to display the episode in their app. Your subscribers can then get the new episode in whatever app they use to subscribe to your show. Yeah. Of course, this is a podcast hosting website, so they're not going to get into the technical details of how all this actually works. Curses. All right, well, it's pennies. The pennies a month. I mean, yeah, but you can just roll with standard. Standard seems good. And yeah, we can go from there. Why am I signed out of the... Oh, okay, but whatever. All right, so we're going to want to set up an S3 instance. It seems like that. The yeah. Because it seems like we would be more easily able to just dump files into this and pull them back out. So that seems good. Oh yeah, by the way, I have purchased finally the scenesfromcentral.com domain. So hooray, we'll have to hook that in once we actually get the website up and running. I'm content for now to just use all of the, auto-generated whatever. That's not important at the moment until we know it's functioning. Then I can put it into the domain and make it accessible. So for now, we have our gateway and we have this little basic thing. So this might be one that we send. Maybe I just might use this particular setup to get the website and the RSS feed. And then we can have perhaps a second gateway set up to get the actual audio files. That doesn't make any sense because we're going to need to upload audio files through the website anyway. So they may as well all be connected because we're going to need access no matter what. Okay. Well, then maybe we can put... That doesn't seem like what we're looking for. Okay. Let's focus on getting the website working. How about that? Make sure we can hit the endpoint and pull up the HTML here. Can't believe I forgot this. Okay. So that's our little HTML. And what we want to do is, so I think I messed this up. I was looking over this a little bit before I started recording, and I must have been on something else. Like when I wrote this up, it must have been a long day or something. I was tired. Obviously, we're going to want to put the file text as the response payload. That seems correct to me. Of course, the way this template was set up is going to go into a Dynamo database and read stuff out. Fun stuff. We don't actually need this anymore then. We can get rid of all this because we're not actually going to be accessing Dynamo anymore. Maybe we want JSON to stick around. Yeah. So operations. Probably don't need those at all either. Probably really don't need any of that, but keep the basic template in there just because. Okay. If our operation is a get operation, we probably want to do this. And then we'll replace it with the file contents of index.html. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. And then create a test. It didn't really like that. I wonder if we could look into these a little bit maybe and actually see some of this stuff about what went wrong there. So it something probably happened when it came time to in loads. Payload equals J on the event body. Didn't like that. It didn't like what the test sent in as the event body. That's fine, actually, because like a lot of this is messed up. Who cares? And this is also a post, so look at all this stuff. Like, I'm not going to have nearly this much stuff in here. Okay. So we can come back up here and say, all right, so the body. Yeah, we're just trying to load some kind of weird. Okay. What if I said I don't care? Oh my god. There we go. All right. Operation is just going to be I'm stupid. Payload is going to be to some string. Great. Deploy that. Test it. Object has no attribute message. Well, Shazbot. But we know it worked. We got through here, and I don't even know what the hell a value error is, how that got in there, what that's from. So we could even do this. Hey, succeeded. Unsupported method post. There you go. So that successfully says, hey, if you try to put in a post, we say it's an unsupported method. We don't know what that is. So that's good. Now let's see if we can configure this test to then instead be a get. All right, looks like we successfully put the file into a string, sent it back as a body. So that's pretty cool. What happens if we say So I don't know if then, this is how much of a front-end developer I am, if it will automatically read the body of the response and display it as an HTML. Only one way to find out. If we actually, we actually managed to call this somehow. For the patching version, it's the runtime to apply security on their patterns, new version, ARN. Yep, okay, great. So that's probably not what I want to call, but if I want to actually call this, can I? Aha! well, we're closer. We actually got it to show up. So now instead of that, I need to configure it so it actually sends back the file itself rather than sending back the text as a response body. So what if we did this? If there's an error, return status code 400. The body is going to be the error. And content type is going to be JSON. else. Maybe we could try that and see what happens. Damn. uh hmm. Internal server error. It's like it doesn't like this. And probably the Lambda itself, I would presume, is expecting to return a particular... Oh, so maybe it's the same deal. I just have to change the headers. Duh. Nope, that doesn't work. All right, cool. We just have to recreate what was there before. So we're not doing this in IDE is kind of annoying. All right, so 400, if error else 200, body is error if error else. I believe this is how it looked before. And then content type if error. And a JSON. I think that's how that works. Look at that. Google wants to translate this. Okay. Well, it did some things correctly. Let's open up the developer tools here and actually look at what do we have here. Oh, so in printing it out inside the printing it out inside of this, the application caused this to become malformed, but the overall HTML structure is still there, so the browser can read it. That's pretty funny. Okay. So we're closer. We're closer. We just have to now make this formatted better. Cool. So maybe we don't. We can try this first and see if that helps. I don't think that helped, but you know, I doubt it hurt. Let's see. No, it did help. Hey. All right, cool. Yay. So that got rid of a lot of the unneeded extra fluff. And if we come back out to DevTools, look at what's in here, you can see actually, yep, that came back correct. That's what we're looking for. Excellent. So I can probably build the HTML page, whatever I want it to be, feed it back through as a response body. We're making progress. This is good. This is exciting. Okay. So we've got an endpoint that successfully will serve up an HTML page. Is doing this via Lambda the way to go? I don't know, but that's okay. That's okay. So here we are. Here we are. And I could probably update the error path as well down the road to do this better. But right now, I think Git Admin Console is functioning the way we want it to. And honestly, the way these functions are set up, this might just end up being its own thing. Oh, but I need access to feed.xml across multiple different things. Because I need an endpoint that will just serve up that XML. And I need this to be able to save it. Okay, well, hey, that's fine. We're still making progress. It just might end up being that the XML goes into my storage, my long-term storage when I set that up. And I'll have to update this code to actually retrieve. I'll have to have the HTML call some JavaScript, actually, probably that invokes an endpoint that calls the data storage and modifies this XML or something. Okay, well, whatever. That's what we're here for. I guess I could update this. Okay, so this is just serving up what it is. I could have this. Oh, I could have this. I could have this. Have all kinds of stuff come in. But first of all, I want to do a investigation of what the hell is context. I mean, line 18, the lambda function, really. I can't just print the context. Name C is not defined. Okay, well. This is the thing I don't understand about Python as a primarily Java developer. How do you know what your stuff is? Like, this is somebody else's template. I presume context is something that the AWS system requires the Lambda handler method to have. I don't know what that is. I don't know what's in it. I have no idea how to tell. Then perhaps this is just my shortcoming of Python. So let me look this up. There. get members, perhaps. Oh, really? People don't use the snake script anymore, do they? Oh, no, that's for methods. Oh, yep. Python was the first language I ever learned. I used it for like a semester in college, and then I haven't touched it in like 2.5 years. No, that would be longer than that. That'd be like 6.5 years. Anyway, pprint. What does pprint do? This could be useful. Data pretty printer. By the format which can be used. So I have to import pprint. And then I just call pp on it. That. Okay. Unless I have to create a pretty printer first. So this is just a shorthand? Gosh, the way this is structured is terrible. Okay, but they have it readable. Okay, that's good. So what I'm gonna have to do probably is make a thing. Well, let's try it out. Worst thing that happens is that it all just goes to hell. Okay. Seemed to work. What happens? Name Conte is not defined. Did I type that in wrong? Nope. Sure didn't. What? Okay. If I hate that auto indent's not there. If pprint dot is readable, then we'll do that. Else, give that a try. See what that does. Could not read context. Great. All right. All right, here we go. So I wish I could use this context thing to really kind of break apart what we're doing here. That'd be kind of cool based on the context. If I could say, you know, this is my call to try and just get the console up and running. This is my call to try and actually just get the feed. This is my, if I could have that information passed in, that'd be cool. Sadly we can't, but I do wonder if when these events come in, you know, like, do these have a standard setup? Like, if I have this path, you know? I mean, this is a request context, so that's kind of good. You have no idea what I can reasonably expect to show up here. Unless there. Have that go. See what happens. So that's cool. But if I actually run this here, is this going to... Yeah, cool. But where did that print to? Logs? Well, that's kind of sad. If I tell it to print, it actually doesn't do anything. Dang it. Uh, uh, yeah, how do I make these logs happen? Of course, I have to pay for that too. Couldn't just have this be set up. Okay. Well, that's fun. So maybe if I just throw it on the end of the payload? I don't know if this actually works or not. But does the p print thing prints it to the stream? Damn. Okay, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to do streams in Python now. Maybe that's really easy. Hope to God it is. Okay, well, hang on. Can I put it in a variable? It's my only question. Could I say, right, based on the way this works, pprint stream equals maybe. If that does anything. Darn. So where the hell do you get streams from? Is that something built into Python as well? Streams. Eat data from the input-output stream. That's cool, but I mean, can I tell this just to put it into a variable? Gosh, this is such a roundabout way. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on in the event when my web browser sends it in. Maybe that'll do something. If I just tack the event onto the bottom. Darn. Okay. There's probably built-in ways to do this. But there you go. What a hacky roundabout way of doing things. Okay, clearly something was wrong there. Yeah, I know what it was. Okay, well, let's try deploying that. Oh, I guess of isn't a keyword. How about that? A list function. I don't want just the values. I want uh oh, there's an unpacking one. What does unpacking do? Let's try that. All right. Key plus that plus event. That should work, right? I don't like that. Oh, okay. Because again, I don't know what any of this is because they're not typed. This is why I don't. This is where you see my whole typed versus untyped paradigm coming in. It's like you're so reliant on knowing exactly what it is that calls this. Like I need to know what calls this in order to really know what's going on in an event. And I don't. I have absolutely no way of knowing. Because event could be literally anything. Thanks, Python. Okay. And Python's great. It's great when you know what you're talking about. Java's great when you don't know what you're talking about. Because Java will tell you. That's the flip side of all the boilerplate stuff you gotta put in there is everything carries a whole lot of description with it, which is annoying to write, but is so helpful when you are just looking at code with no context. Or perhaps just that's the way my brain's been trained to look at code due to Java, and I don't really know how to investigate these objects in a way where, because all I really want to know is what can I rely on this endpoint, this endpoint receiving when it gets called. What kinds of data come into this method so I can know if this gets called from a different endpoint. You know, if I set it up where I have one endpoint for pulling up the web page, I've got one endpoint for retrieving a specific audio file, I've got one endpoint for getting the RSS feed. I want to know that the event, the object that comes in can dictate those things. Because if it does, peaches. This is awesome. I can just fire this off, have everybody come through one endpoint, they all go through this method, and then I can write other methods in here to be called based on which endpoint the event wanted to hit. And it seems like some of that's here, given that any arbitrary HTTP method can come through. Clearly something's coming through. I just don't have any way to write it out. Like when I do the test, but obviously this test is running on contrived inputs. I want to be able to call this and know what is it that my invocation here what resulted in event, what came through there. I'm confident it's not just the simple request details. I'm sure Amazon's Lambda service has configured it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's look at this. Here's an easy way to figure this out. That's fine. Because I can look at this and say, what was the request? Did I just say get? I mean, the request URL is here. So did that come along? Did I send that in? This one, HTTP method. And you can see here, the headers I'm setting in just say method and stuff. I'm fairly confident then that Amazon is modifying the request before it passes it into the Lambda function, which is fine, but I just need to know what that is. How is it structured? And once I know that, I can properly handle the different events that come through, and I can know if I need to set up multiple gateways with multiple different endpoints, or I can use one gateway to handle all the endpoints. Be my preferred way of doing it. Then everything can just live in one place and be happy. This is, of course, we already talked about that. We already talked about the feed might need to live in the long-term storage alongside the audio files because there's no guarantees that depending on how the Amazon servers distribute this service, that the feed will be the same everywhere. Anyway, that's irrelevant. We still don't know what this is doing. So use dir. Give that a run and see what happens. try that. See what that does. Try it this way. Oh boy. Oh boy. Get that up there. Well, bam. How about now? Happy now? Test. Hey, look at that. Okay. That seems to work. Class contains delete attribute, delete item, dir, doc, equal format, get attribute, get item. Uh-huh. Clear, copy from keys, get items, keys, pop items, set default, update values. Excellent. So there is a get items. And there's a keys. Hell yes. Okay. Progress. Progress being made. So there is a keys. Let's try that. Hit up a test. That seemed to work. Excellent. Come back here. Bam. Version, resource. Is that resource path, HTTP method? No, because they seem to multi-value headers, query string parameters. Okay. State variables body is base64 encoded. Okay, cool. So, dialing into this even more. Now I can know what the values are for everything that gets sent in. Yes? Is it like a 2-string? Is that a thing? Okay. Version 1.0. Resource. Get admin console. Path. Default. Get admin console. I can ask for the resource and it'll tell me. Yes. This is excellent. Very good. Very good. Very good. I probably could have used that string method to get all these in, but that's fine. This is great. This is great. Now I can actually understand how the request is going to be sent in. I can then know how to break it apart. So let me just really quickly. It didn't do the new lines the way I hoped it would, but that's fine because it translated it to HTML. Let me open up a notepad. Hang on. And yeah, that's where we were looking at the. No, I don't want to update that yet. We were looking at stuff for last time. Let me slap that in there. So now we can really break this out. Into hopefully, yeah. So I like Notepad++. So handy. It's a great tool. Can do the IDE find the closing bracket thing, which is great. That's the request context. I wouldn't be terribly surprised if this is what context ends up being. That'd be kind of cool. Is that, you know, is it likely? I don't know. Okay, awesome. So we got 13 different things going on in here. And in a rare moment of what's going on, sorry, that's probably hard to read. There we go. I'm going to undo word wrap. That way we can just go, boom, here's what it all is. So if I get the event and I grab the resource, I can then call a method that returns the HTML page. If the resource is something else, I could have it do something else. Now here's the issue. How do I make a bunch of different resource calls fall into? Unless I rename the service. I rename the service and I let there be path parameters in the request. How do I set that up? That's the other issue. Because just because I have all that information, it's kind of like, okay, that's where that gateway came through. Can I add another trigger? Oops. Didn't really remember that I had two different APIs here, but actually, maybe this is what I'm looking for. Ah, I've got two. No, but the endpoint's bad. Oh, dang it. Okay. Um, so maybe I need to do these differently. Maybe I need to do these. So it wouldn't be called git admin console. It'd be called like endpoint or something. Maybe I just come up with a name for the service like podcast host or something. And then I use the different stages. And depending on the stage, that can trigger a slight shift in these things. Where did this go? Because you see the full path here will include the stage in the path name. So then I could parse that out. I don't know what a function URL is. Oh. Well, that's interesting. Do. Yeah, security is going to be a whole thing. Let's. So I might have to come into the API here actually and edit this and say, all right, so you're going to have a deployment stage. Oh. This is how I'd hook that in. So I can call this RSS. So if I come out here, say RSS. What? What? Hang on. Uh, all right, I'm annoyed. Maybe that's because the something to do with this might be set up to only allow not 1,000% sure here. Hmm. Because it'd been really cool if I could make this be RSS and then parse out which version you're asking for to tell you which version of stuff to return. Maybe it's just not deployed yet. I don't know. One thing at a time. Being quite scatterbrained. For now. Let's focus on building the website. How about that? That's something we can do. That's productive. And we have this response already saved off in Notepad, so when we come back, that can work. Good. All right, so for right now, we have this index.html. And that's fine. We should probably build a more, build a more robust page. And it can just live. You know, we can put copies of all the files out on in the environment here because we'll make it so that it's agnostic to whether it's on some kind of cluster multi-deployment setup or if it's yeah, that's fine. So I think maybe to do this better, we may want to use a different IDE, I would think, than this default one that they've provided because I want something to be a little bit more helpful when I build the page to catch some mistakes. I don't trust myself to be so skilled at writing that that I'll just immediately not make any mistakes. That seems... I think the only one I have installed right now is PyCharm. So this could be a mess. Oh, what did I call this? The podcast host project. Sorry, I know this is hidden away on the other screen. I'm just setting it up. Here we go. All right, cool. Index. Here we go. Great. Good old IDE. So this is going to be this could be our main page. All right, cool. So why don't we do this kind of like we had before in the other one. And here's where things go off the rails. How do we set this up? What do we want to have in here? Well, probably going to want some kind of... Boy, this is where we get back. It's so much easier to maintain software than to write it from scratch. Let me tell you what. At least for people like me, I'm a creative person when it comes to solving problems, not as creative when it comes to just generating stuff out of nowhere. So this is, yeah, this is certainly an adventure. What do these all do? Oh, I didn't know you could just, that's handy. Okay. This is going to be really bare bones. I don't think I should make this flashy at all because who has the time? I really just want something up there that can manage the basics, that can perform all the necessary operations. This isn't intended to be consumed by anybody but me and Mitch, the guy I'm doing the podcast with. So with that in mind, what we'll probably end up needing to do is just do it all very simply. We can do like a title. Yep. Gosh, this is what I was missing. Prompts, IntelliText or whatever it is. Yes, thank God. There. Okay, auto indent. What are you doing? Doesn't matter. Okay. So we have that there. We're probably gonna want some kind of a div. Divs are good, like divs. To create a section where we can look at something. This will probably get populated actually by some JavaScript. That's what I'm realizing. So we can give it an ID and then we can write some JavaScript to actually put sub items in this div, but this can be where we show the episodes. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm thinking we'll have a layout of why don't we wireframe? That's good, right? MS Paint. Okay. Why is there a grid? Can I get rid of that, please? Yeah, no, don't want that. All right, cool. Here we go. So why don't we draw in a rectangle. This can be our page. Great. There you have it. So we'll probably want a section at the top where how should this be laid out? I'm thinking very list formatted because, again, I don't want to get too in the weeds with CSS and styling for now. We can pretty it up later on. I just want the functionality to be there. So the first thing that we're going to want to be able to do is add. No, the first thing we're going to be able to do is read. I want to be able to see what's in there. So we should probably have nope, we can decide we've read by looking at the RSS feed. That could be our indicator for now. We can, again, doll this up later. That's a nice to have. The key functionality that we need here for the user to be able to do is put in a new episode. That's what this web page is primarily for, is uploading new episodes, and then anyone who subscribes to the RSS feed can be notified, and then they can use the other endpoints we'll set up to download. Yes. So because of this, we don't want to put too much here. We'll just be, I don't know, it could just be like a field for, should stick with the rectangle, that'd be easier. Just do a field for add the name, field for description, that's not what I wanted. Here. What are the things that come into each individual item? So that's the thing, is this channel seems to be already set up, so we probably don't need to set that up. We'll need to do a new channel if we want to set up other podcasts on the same site, but for now, the channel tag I think is done. We just need to add new item tags. So we just need a title and a description, and then a link. And then after that, it's like, whatever. Oh, we probably wanted to put the duration. Yeah. Is this in seconds? And what are you? Uh-oh. Is this file size length? That seems like stuff to figure out, I suppose, under the surface. So name, description, and then file select with like a submit button. This seems like the basic things that need to be in here, right? Holy Christ. Learn how to spell. Okay, so we have you in there. Why is the font size ginormous? Title. It's probably, let's be honest, not going to be side by side like this. I'll probably have it over the edge of each thing. But you get the idea. specify the file. No, it's not going to go there. We'll put it in here. There. General layout, that's about all you need. Give the basic information. And the RSS feed will be updated. And we'll get the file moved into long-term storage. For now, I think we should focus on manipulating the XML for the RSS feed. Because we don't have the storage set up, that seems like more of a pain. We want to make sure that this at least functions. That can be our goal for today. We've been going for what, like 2 hours at this point? Okay, cool. So hopefully, I don't want to just leave it here because I want to have a good place to pick up down the road. So here we go. That seems like a good generic layout. I'll probably just get rid of this because I don't really care. So here we are. This is going to be the title. These are all lowercase, right? It's not the thing. And we'll make this minimal. We'll do this good iterative development. For now, this will be set up exclusively for the Scenes from Central podcast. And again, down the road, we can update all of this later to allow adding new podcasts and hosting new podcasts. But just for now, get the simple things done. So we'll have a... this is where Google is going to come in really hard. HTML tags. I'm a professional developer. Okay. Let's see here. What kind of input do we have? Isn't that what it is? That's just what it is. It's input, isn't it? That's, yep, here we go. And then you can specify. Okay. So you could do a form. That's probably the standard way to do it is via a form. And then we can specify a JavaScript file that'll execute. Yep. This seems smart. This seems like a good idea. Okay. Oh, we're going to have to configure the back end. Okay, so actually, okay, the front end could be as simple as just send the user inputs off to the server. And this is where uploading the file is going to be interesting. Because it's possible we will simply want to have one action that sends the text to update the RSS with and another action to actually stream the file contents up to the server. Because I'm going to need to research that as well. For now, let's just send the title, description, and the path to the file. That can be our objective here. So, I'll do a form. So far, no action, but I'll put a placeholder. And then we're going to want to do an input. Not do those, just have Oh, you put labels on them. Yep. That makes sense to me. Okay. Type text. And then you can put in line breaks to put in some spacing. Yeah, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. As a fly. Okay. So I'll do that. This is going to be look at that. Look at that. It just the error checking, like simple things like that. They just they're very exciting. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably gonna need to put the label contents in there until that's a type of text. Got it. Okay, type. There we go. We're gonna say title. Put all that in. Great. What they do on there? BRBR. Great. Couple of line breaks going on. That's nice. Then we can basically copy paste this to say for description text, and you're going to be description text, and you're going to say description. Lovely. And then we're going to need another label. And you're going to be for audio file. You're going to be audio file, and your type. Can I get the helpful hints? I think that's what we're going to need to do is do file. Yep. Okay. And then we'll do another input. Submit. And we can put the value as submit to. Cool. So yeah, there's that. And then we'll need a JavaScript. This is going to be, what do we call this? Add episode.js. There you go. And that's what we'll say this does. Epidose. Cool. Now here, yeah, I guess we'll just kind of write out this script, huh? Yeah. We might need to actually, never mind, have this be. Add episode might need to be on the page. And it might need to be able to. To your local episode. I think that's valid. I knew there was more to it than that. I was like, there's no way I just put the source. There you go. Throw that up in the head. That way it's just imported when the when everything loads in. And then I can say add episode. So then we're gonna go now. That's where we just describe what this does. So the title text. And then we can grab the actual I think it's value what I'm looking for. Get the description the same way. Okay, so it doesn't actually we can probably get rid of this, right? Sorry, doing scatterbrain stuff again, but I'm trying to set this up to figure out how am I gonna tell how am I gonna tell the JavaScript where to send the data. So I'm gonna have to package all of this up into some kind of JSON, whatever. Now I'm kind of curious too about if I got a file, what was the value end up being? Hmm. Yeah, what about if I Hmm. This would probably be good. There's a lot of different audio files. Jesus. So we'll just say take everything. Just wanted to swap that around. I don't know. We were getting, for some reason, title is not allowed. Oh, that's not what I want. Then I want a header, don't I? H1. That's what we were looking for. Not title. It's effectively a title, but it's a header. There we go. Okay. So that's how that'll work. Do I really need it inside of a div like that? No. But whatever. I'm almost wondering now if I ought to just... So here now we're trying to figure out... trying to do too much today. I'm trying to do too much and I'm thinking and I'm just going to go all over the place. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to have this just log to the console in the browser. Don't need to get this all fancy and sending stuff up to the server. Let's just prove that this all works and we're gathering the data that we want. So we're going to want to grab audio file. Just throw that stuff out there on the console. There you go. Cool. Does that all work? Is that everybody happy now? We all happy? Hooray. So now that we're all here, we just want to copy these files out to our Lambda service here. What? All right, we'll see if this works. All right, that worked. That's good. New file. Throw you out there. And we'll call you save. And your name is going to be, what do we call you? What do we call you? Add episode.js? Is that what it was? Yep. Okay. Add episode.js. Hopefully that works. I mean, it showed up and there's no browser to process that response. So ideally, that has now worked. Hey, would you look at this? We opened up the DevTools. Ah, damn. Wasn't able to load the JavaScript. That's a bummer. Okay, so we might have to shoot. Okay, the short answer is put the script data into the HTML. That could get messy. For our purposes, it might be sufficient. The flip side of all of this is try to figure out a way to get the JavaScript down because it said screw you. I would try to just go and call a different endpoint. Okay. Here's a question. What if because for some reason it's identifying the index with just the domain, or like the little, what were they called that? If I can get it to go down a level, maybe that would work. We'll see. Here goes nothing. Darn, didn't like that. Didn't like that. Shoot. Hmm. So instead, until I can figure that out, I guess we'll do it this way. I don't like this way. This is messier. It's more annoying. But it will work. If I go yoink. Okay, let's not structure that like a heathen. That ought to work, right? Why is this getting mad at me? Okay, that seemed to work. And hey, look at that. I can just put some stuff in here. Let's try a small little... What is this going to do? Oh. It tried to... Oh. I can set this up to be... Okay. It didn't call my script. It called the, Huh. Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. So I wonder if we can fix this right here. We need to go back into any editors. We can just try and say, okay, so rather than this being way more intelligent than I gave it credit for, and going back to its origin and trying to, It just submitted the form data. I wonder if this solves my upload problem. I have no idea. I mean, honestly, that file was, I guess, relatively small, a couple kilobytes. So, I mean, presumably, it wouldn't be a huge deal. But now, hang on. When I went ahead and did this, what was the, what was the payload that I tried to send? Like, we called a get, and we didn't put anything in there. So that's probably why I went fast. I was like, there's no way that was so quick. Okay. This does tell me that this is wrong. And I need to know how to call. Oh, you have to just specify JavaScript. Hmm. Oh, on submit. That makes sense. And it doesn't, but okay. So we would say form. Damn, that'd be cool if we could edit that on the fly. Oh well. We'll just have to do it here. Form. Episode. And we simply won't override that there. Okay, seems to work. Let's give this another run. Need bigger there. Audio file. Let's throw that there. What happened? What? Forgot about the parentheses. Oh, I'm dumb. All right, here we go. Here we go. On submit add episode. Well, bam. There you go. All right. Test. Cool description that will make everyone listen. Audio file. One more time. Okay, solid. Submit. Okay. And that's good insight too for when we continue on here, that it's going to fake path. Now that's interesting. So I guess it does try and hide where on my computer this lives. That's kind of nice, actually. But yeah, we'll have to set up a way for that to actually run. And I want to eventually rename this so this lines up and not call it podcast manager. Anyway. So this all seems to be okay. We got a little form happening. We've been able to select things. Description and everything comes along like I was hoping it would. Great. Very cool, very cool. What we will then want to do I guess for next time. So for this point, where we're at, been 2.5 hours. I think this is a sufficient amount of time spent for today on this. Made some good progress. We've got the ability now to call the service, to get back a web page, to write in the web page, to select a file we want. We're serving up the HTML we expect. It's being read correctly by the browser. We know a little bit more about the payload that we're getting both from the browser, and we know a little bit more about what we are going to want to send into the service when you try to upload an episode. Setting the stage for next time, we're going to need to figure out how to do the actual file transfer. We're probably going to, at that point, have to set up the long-term storage so we can verify that it's happening. I mean, I could just have the long-term... Anyway, getting ahead of myself. Once that's set up, we're also going to need to set up in the service when you click submit. Well, that'll be the thing too. Setting this up so that it's not simply logging, but it sends the metadata to the server. The server can then construct the new entry for the RSS feed, update the RSS file, and conduct the audio file upload. Once we have that going, I think we'll be most of the way there. We will just need one more endpoint for retrieving the RSS feed and another endpoint for gathering the audio file, like downloading the audio file from the service and long-term storage, which will be cool because we'll be able to have just one endpoint where you put in a query parameter for the ID of the episode, whatever you want, and we can retrieve that. And yeah. So I think that's where we're at. I think this is good. I think we made good progress. I think we're much more solid today than we were at the end of the last one. We've got more concrete things happening. I think I have a better understanding of the structure, how AWS is laying a lot of this out, and and I'm an owner of scenesfromcentral.com at this point, so that's fun too. That I can plug that into the API gateway as well once we get further along, and that'll be helpful when it comes time to maybe put some actual logic in here for sending up the audio file. It might be good to have that domain locked in so we have a consistent place to call when we want to upload stuff. So anyway, come back full screen just to end it off with a thanks for watching. Again, I hope this is inspiring to anybody who is feeling like everything they see out there is people who just have all the answers intuitively and are on the fly coming up with complicated answers to their technical problems. I want to show it's not easy, but it's doable. You know, you can make progress. You chip away at the small things, one thing at a time. Google's your friend. And you just have to enjoy learning new things. That's the main thing. If you really enjoy learning new things and you have a decent amount of ability to find new information, then you can get pretty far. And be kind to yourself, I suppose. Doesn't all have to happen right away. I spent 2 hours last time accomplishing nothing, but things are always being accomplished under the surface, even if you don't have tangible results. I was learning things, I was reading things, getting a little bit more informed, and that led to today where we actually got to write a little bit of code and see something happening, and that was exciting. And that's why I love this line of work, and I love doing all this stuff, is just because you get to watch as your efforts have payoff, slowly but surely. The little things you do matter, and little tweaks here and there. Like I forgot the parentheses on the call in the HTML document for specifying the JavaScript call, and nothing happened. And then I put those in, and boom, now we got console logs of all the stuff that you put in there. And it's those little things. You make a little change, and you can see the effect. And in a world where I think oftentimes people feel very small and very isolated, I think that's an awesome thing to be able to have that power of, but look at the impact that little things that I do can have in meaningful ways. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. Hopefully we do more great things.